Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Free Daily Coaching. It's a Friday, and I'm here. You're probably wondering what's happening. Why is Bert here on a Friday morning? Well, normally on Fridays, excuse me, normally on Friday mornings, I'm off on an adventure on Friday mornings. It's the time that I actually go to a men's group and do some masterminding and do some other things on Friday morning. And normally we have Shouse in the House over here for Shouse in the House coaching. And Shouse in the House coaching sponsors Fridays, and she usually does an interview. So she features someone, a featured friend of Free Daily Coaching, um, each week on something that they're doing in their business, something that they're applying in their business, and how it can relate to your business and helping you. So we thought this week, since I was here, I thought I would switch it up and I would do something a little bit different, and we would put Chris Schaus in the hot seat, and we would interview Schaus. And she had the opportunity recently to come up to the ranch and do some stuff here. And so we thought we'd ask a couple questions about that, and then just ask a couple questions about what she's doing and the processes that she's taking and what she's doing with Shouse in the House coaching. But really, she's doing a couple of different things. So touching on each of those key points this morning. So that's what we're going to do. If we can get Chris over, I think she's here. Chris, are you here?
I'm here.
All right. So first of all, Chris, it's kind of weird to be here on a Friday. So you've been doing free daily coaching featured friend zone on Free Daily Coaching Fridays, right? Shouts in the House Coaching has been doing that. And how long have you been doing that now?
Oh, it's been at least 3 months.
How many? What did you say? 8 months?
No, at least 3 months.
Oh, 3 months. I was like 8 months. That seems like a long time. So 3 months. That's a minimum that you've been doing it on the regular for 3 months, and that's every single Friday that you're doing an individual interview. So when I originally approached you about doing that, what were the original challenges or obstacles that you thought would get in your way of being able to commit to doing something on the regular, like doing that on a weekly basis?
Well, actually, I was scared to death.
Okay. So
Um,
so that was the biggest, that you think that was the biggest challenge, is that you're just being on video every week?
yeah, being on video every week, coming up with content every week, asking the right questions, being being brilliant. I mean, look, Bert, you command the stage when you're on it. You know how to ask the right questions. You know how to have all the enthusiasm. You know the right questions to ask. I had never been in that position before, but I have grown, I believe, and I think I have people come back every week to see me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you made a transition. So you committed to doing it, and then you just started taking action, right? You just started doing it. There was no really, once you said you were going to do it, you had to show up then that next following Friday, right? And actually show up and do the call, do the webinar. So once you started doing it, and now you've been doing it for a while, it's become like something that you do. So it's just become a part of your weekly routine. How did doing that translate into being able to take action in other areas, right, in your business? So how did starting to do this on a weekly basis, or did that have a direct translation into other aspects of your business, other activities that you started doing because you were able to take that action?
Yes, I believe it made me grow. It made me have to look for things that are going to help other people, and in the process, it also helped me.
So literally it was literally like taking that same idea of just, right, like developing yourself, and then developing yourself would help other people, because that's ultimately what you were doing regardless, right? Because
That's true.
if you were finding tools that other people were going to use, you still had to go out and use them. You had to still implement them to see if they were actually going to be beneficial. So you
Correct.
still had to better yourself and learn a skill set for yourself first before you could go out and teach it, right?
That's right. Or find people that it was working for and sharing them with people.
Right. Well, either way, you're still, it's like, if, okay, so either way, it's still the same. I think it's still the same because you're still finding, like, if you found someone else that was doing it, you found a resource,
Correct.
right? And then you're just sharing that. Now you're sharing that resource with your audience.
Right.
Right. Okay. So the idea of this came, and the reason that I'm asking these questions is because the idea about having someone else come into Free Daily Coaching and do something and be a part of it was an idea that I took this idea on a bigger level, right, and tried to break it down and make it and show how you could even use it on a smaller stage. And so the idea was, okay, if you could do something like gain more exposure as an affiliate marketer or as a network marketer, a direct sales rep, right? If you could start to really build a decent sized audience and you have a good client base, then they're going to let you go on stage, right? So they're going to put you on even in front of a even bigger audience, right? They're going to like kind of lend their audience to you so that you can go and, you know, practice and become better, right?
Right.
So what if we could just break that down into on a smaller scale? And that's what we did with Free Daily Coaching, right? And say, okay, well, what if we're doing something like a daily webinar where you could learn how to do webinars and also where you're learning the presentation skills, how to do video, like multiple different skills are all being learned. And you don't have to just start from scratch. You could come over here where there's already people coming on a regular basis, right? So that you have kind of like a built-in audience. So that it's like lending the audience. So it was trying to bring it to that scale, to show down to this scale, right? Where someone like yourself that has a bunch of experience in life, right? And at the corporate level and customer service and really interacting with other people, just using some of the online platforms, right? And these new and having an audience here was just something new for you.
That's correct. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
How did it feel to relinquish one day a week to somebody else?
Well, in the very beginning, because before I had relinquished it to you, we had other types of like ideas of that, right? Like variations of that. So in the very, very beginning, in the original like idea was super difficult, right? Like mentally, it was super challenging, and mostly because I became so attached to doing it, right? Not because I was really like, maybe in the very beginning, I was like a little afraid of like what people would say, or would they do something that I didn't want them to do on the webinar. And I think I had some of that in the beginning, right? Or earlier in my career, I was more, if you would say, worried about things like that. But really, as time has expired, you know, as long as I'm, you know, using good judgment on who I'm actually allowing on to, you know, to who would be allowed to have that responsibility or that privilege or whatever you call it, right?
I call it an honor.
Yeah, who would be able to do that? As long as I'm discerning on who that would be, and as long as I've had enough interaction with them, I feel pretty comfortable now at this, you know, at this time to just let it go. So really, probably for, I don't know, at least I guess 3 months, right? Since you've been doing it, I don't really worry about Friday mornings because I'm doing something you know what I mean? I'm already up and going, just like the time that I would be doing Free Daily Coaching. I'm otherwise occupied at that time, right? It's not like I'm sleeping in that day or anything. It's like I'm otherwise occupied. So in the beginning, it was like a sense of relief, like, oh yeah, I don't have to do anything because Chris is doing Free Daily Coaching right now, so I know it's being covered. And now that that has been like, that's been going on for a long enough time now that that thought doesn't even come to my mind. I don't even, right? Like I'm doing other things on Friday morning. So I'm not even thinking about it anymore, because it's like, it's almost like I've cut that piece off of Free Daily Cut, right? It's almost like I've cut that piece. Like this is like, I have this whole entire pie or a cake or whatever, and I've just cut that one piece out. And even though like it's cut out of the pie or the cake or the pie, but even though I haven't like scooped it out onto a plate and eaten it or done anything, it's just like already cut out. Like I've already excluded that. Like it's already accounted for.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you trust me that much with it. And I appreciate the fact that you don't try to control what I do. We talk about it. You give suggestions, but I'm pretty much free to do what I want to do on Free Daily Coaching. And if I have a question, I ask you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a few guidelines that I think that were set up in the beginning, which was, the basic guidelines that anyone would have. Like, hey, you can't just, you can't go onto someone else's platform and sell, right? You can't promote your own individual agenda on someone else's platform unless they give you permission, right?
Correct.
And that's really the main thing. And once you can trust someone that they're not going to do that, then it's really just a matter of, hey, as long as the content in which in this case you, right, and as long as the content is going to be content that will be suitable for the current audience, then that's fine, right? Like, so for example, if I was teaching a whole series on email, right, and then Chris asked, if you asked me like, hey, could I do a webinar this Friday on, I don't know, what's the I don't even know what the opposite of that is. Oh, let's just say door hangers, right?
Okay.
Like doorknob hangers, like advertising on like your front door, right? Like putting door hangers on. Then I would maybe might be a day where I was like, no, I don't know if I want you to do that, because we're not really like, that's not what we're really talking about, right?
Correct.
But otherwise, yeah, I try to give you the latitude to be able to go wherever you want to go, because that's the whole idea, is for you to think of idea. You know what I mean? That's the whole idea of the growth of doing it, is exploring, hey, what is the audience responding to? Are these interviews working? Do I need to change the questions, right? How can I use this to learn and get better and refine this skill set, and the skill set of being able to perform in front of an audience, on a captive audience on a regular basis.
Well, I think the whole premise of Free Daily Coaching is to help an individual learn what is working right then in the marketplace. And as long as we keep bringing that to the people, I think they'll keep showing up. I know that you always have.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. The whole idea is, there's a couple basic ideas. There's a couple base tools that, are required to do business. If you're especially, okay, let's say this, they're required to do business online. If you're going to do business online, you need a few things.
Correct.
Right? At some level. And you're going to see that everyone that's working online has it, right? At some point, in some fashion, through some platform, people that are working online are communicating via email. Okay. Mostly. Most business professionals. Okay. Most companies are running, a web-based server that they have their own email client, so that the company itself has its own email server, or they're running it through an auto response service, right? Or they're, in some cases, if they're smaller companies, everyone's just running through their own personal email accounts, but everyone's using email, right?
Okay.
That's like a base standard. We know that everyone's using email. We know at this point that the internet is not going away. It's happening. So we know that most companies, if you want to find them, you find them online, right? We don't go to the yellow pages. We don't call information. Remember, we used to call 411 for everything.
Yeah.
That doesn't. Yeah, I don't even know if that exists anymore. I don't know who you get, but they're just probably Googling it for you anyways.
That's right.
Right? So so having some kind of web real estate, whether that's a sales funnel, whether it's a lead capture page, whether it's an actual website or a blog, right? Whether it's an actual e-commerce site, whatever type of online real estate, we know that those are givens. Yep. So some of these things we know that they're just going to remain constant. So we try to do that. That's what free daily coaching is about showing those constants and showing how to use those, how to maximize your effort, your time and energy when you're using those tools and those resources, and then showing all kinds of other little tools and tricks and tips and strategies that are working, like what Chris said, that are working right now. Because what's working right now today is not going to be the same as what's going to work in 6 months from now. And what used to work 3 years ago doesn't work today, right? Not everything. Some things are the same, right? But some things have just changed already due to the nature, especially due to the nature of the internet and the rate in which new information and new technology is coming.
I know, it's so fast.
Yeah, it comes all the time. So all you need to know is, hey, what are the base staples that I need to have, right? And then that's why I try to, when I'm trying to find resources, I'm trying to find companies that have a couple different features. That they've been here for long enough that that they have a firm place in the market, right? But right. Also that they're not so rigid as that they're going to not be able to continue to grow. Some of these older companies, they're just stagnant. They're not building, they're not developing, right? They're not getting like current with technology and with what we've got going on today. That's right. Some of the companies are really proactive about doing that and saying, hey, we want to keep up with what's happening. We want to be able to integrate our systems as the online environment changes, as that landscape evolves. We want to be able to evolve with it. We want to still be able to stay relevant with it. And so that's what I try to identify. I try to identify, hey, what are the companies that have been around for a while? They've got great products and services. They're user friendly, right? We could actually use them. And then also, are they in the marketplace to compete, right? Are they staying competitive? Because if they're not competitive, then what's the point of using it? What's the point of using a product or service that's obsolete, right? It would be like going and learning DOS right now. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't make sense, right? It would be like, what are you doing? Why are you spending all that time learning that? How would you be able to teach that to someone and monetize that? Well, you wouldn't. So you wouldn't go and do that. However, learning how to go and set up an automated email campaign series, right? And setting up that template so that you could go and present that to all kinds of different business owners, that could be something that could be super valuable. Absolutely. Why? Well, because you could walk right into them. You could walk right into their office. You could email directly, right? You could message right to them. You could call them. You could directly market to them. And you could say, hey, are you having trouble communicating with XYZ audience? Allow me to help you. Let me show you how I can help you. Right. And then show them. And then you can shoot them over to a quick video, right? There's a link right there that you can show them. Hey, look how easy this is to be able to communicate with all of the people that you want to be able to communicate, and it's automated so that you don't have to sit there every day and hit send. Once you set it up, it's ready to go, right? And it's going out for you, and it's working and doing the work for you.
Right.
So I don't know that I have a lot more questions, Chris. I really just wanted to I wanted to feature you and say, hey, thanks to you. We have a featured friend of Friday. We have a new thing that happens every single Friday, and it gives me an entire day off. It gives me a day to go and do something totally different in my business, in my life. And for that, I thank you. I know that the audience thanks you, because there's people coming back on the regular. There's attendees that come every single Friday, and it has nothing to do with that it's free daily coaching, because the people that come back and that are on the regular, they recognize that on Fridays it's Shouse in the House. So you're doing something right. You're learning as you go, and I want to congratulate you on that. And it's great to see that you used some lessons that you learned just in this experience, and applying them to other areas of your business. And that's really, ultimately, really, that's the key, is being able to identify one thing that you've learned, or a task or a skill set that you could really like maximize, right? And utilize across the board in your business, where you're not just learning something just for one thing, where that you could use this. Hey, I can use this in webinars, I could use this in sales videos, I can use these ideas that I learned right here in multiple aspects of my marketing and actually apply them and get a result.
I'll tell you what, Bert, you're giving me this opportunity has made me grow. It made me step outside my box. So, you know, there's in the end, there's still some premises that never change, which is developing your leadership skills, getting your mindset right, having gratitude for what you're able to bring. Those are your cornerstones to build on. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely do. It's I was like, man, I should have notes so that we can go put a little post, but that's it. It's, you're developing your leadership skills. You build up a mindset. You have to have a positive mindset. The world's going to keep coming no matter what. Problems are going to occur, accidents are going to happen. Like things, like everything isn't like, rainbows and sunshine, and you know what I mean? Sometimes it rains and it's snowy and it's muddy and it's hailing and your car gets dented and, a tree falls on the porch or whatever. You know what I mean? Life happens, but you got to have the mindset. You got to have the mindset to move forward. You got to have a mindset to say, hey, this is life and this is our one shot. You know what I mean? Let's make the best of it. Let's have a positive mindset. Like, who cares about the obstacles? Obstacles are just like, it's like an invitation to learn something new. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's a challenge. Okay, well, let's find out how to overcome this challenge. What can we learn out of this, right? Because if we learn something, maybe we could share it with someone else. And if we share it with someone else, it makes us a more valuable person, right? Yeah. Because that's really the truth. You become more valuable. And it's not just, value isn't just based on the money. It's not like, oh, I mean, yeah, we think of that in our businesses. We think about like, how can I monetize this skill set? But think about how valuable you could be to other individuals as a resource base, right? As a knowledge base. And then over time, how could you monetize that knowledge base? But what if in the beginning, the knowledge base wasn't just based off of charge? What if a lot of that knowledge was given away freely? Why? Yeah. Well, because you got it free. Like if it was something that you could go figure out for free, why wouldn't you just give it away for free? Right?
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So you got developing leadership, you got mindset, and then what was the last one? Gratitude. Yeah. That's a huge thing, is being able to just look around and say, hey, you know what are you grateful for? And who are the people? This is really the thing. Who are the people that you're thankful and grateful to? And this is really, gratitude isn't just a feeling that you have like, oh, I'm so grateful for you and grateful for what you've done or XYZ. A lot of times gratitude is an action.
True.
Right? Gratitude is an action. Sometimes that action is calling someone and saying, hey, thank you for what you've shared with me or what you've given me or your time or your energy. Sometimes that looks like writing a letter. Maybe sometimes that looks like taking a specific action, doing a deed, right? Doing a physical deed. It could be that action. So that gratitude action. So there's so many, maybe you're doing something that's been done for you. Maybe you're doing that for someone else.
Right.
Without asking for anything, without any, acknowledgement, without any, reciprocation. You're just doing that something for someone because it's the right thing to do. That's, those kind of gratitude actions. Those are the things that really, it goes back to the mindset, like when you do those types of things, it changes the way that you look at the world. When you start changing the way that you look at the world, you start interacting with the world a little bit different. You start to see what you could bring to the world, right?
Not only that, but
it's not like it's every single day, all the time. Like, people think when you talk like this, like, oh, everything's like so altruistic. It's not like, that we're not all human beings, that we don't, get selfish, that we don't want our own, like, I want what I want and I want this, or, you know, I want to have this time. Like, you know, the other day my wife was off of work. I was selfish about that and said, I want this time with my wife. I'm not going to answer phone calls and emails and all that because this is my time. Right. So it's not like it's like this altruistic idea, like you always have to be like this magical like guru that's like floating through the air on a carpet, like blessing people and you know what I mean? It's not like you don't get upset, or you don't get, you know, that you don't have desires and needs and wants as well. However, to be able to attain ultimately, what I think that most of us can agree on is that ultimately to achieve our goals and our desires, what we really truly desire, right? Really truly, if we look inside of ourselves, if you really are honest about what it is that you desire and what you want, if you really want to get there, one of the best ways to get there is to do that with other people. And the best way to do that with other people, in my experience, has been to be able to do gratitude actions. And because there's something about when you take those gratitude actions and you actually take action, that there's something about those acts and accomplishing those acts on a regular basis that changes the way you think. And when you change the way you think, you change what you do. That it's like a big circle, right? It's like, you know how some people are in a vicious bad circle?
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. But imagine if you know, when you hear about those people that were like, oh man, I got involved in XYZ, whatever it is, fill in the bad thing that they got involved with, because we all know people that got involved with something that was detrimental to their lives, right? And they said it was just a vicious cycle. Well, imagine, and this is real, you don't have to just imagine it. You could implement this into your life. Imagine if you could do the same thing, but you could imagine, or you could implement and incorporate into your life that cycle that wasn't a vicious negative cycle. It was a positive reinforcing cycle that was moving you forward, right? That's an option too. That's right. That also is an option that you could choose. So we get a choice. Do you want to do these things over here that are negative that lead you into this cycle? Or would you rather do this over here because this could lead you into the positive cycle? And that's what the goal of free daily coaching is, to take these actions, right? Look at these things, look at each one of these items and say, okay, can I start doing this on a regular basis so I can start this cycle? And sometimes it's like a motorcycle, like a kickstart motorcycle. Sometimes when you kick it and you do a couple actions, it doesn't just turn over automatically. It doesn't just start. The cycle doesn't just start, right? The motorcycle, the turning doesn't always start just because you do one or two actions, just because you hit that lever. Sometimes you've got to do a couple things. Sometimes you got to jump down on the kickstart a couple times. Sometimes you got to give it a little gas, right? Maybe you got to get a little coaching. Maybe you need some skill sets. Maybe you need some tools. Maybe you need a mindset shift, right? That's like adding a little gas is like adding some tools. Maybe you need a little bit of a boost. And then you kick down that action, you kick down that kickstart, and it starts the motorcycle. It starts that cycle. It starts everything moving and the engine running.
It roars to life.
It roars to life. That's absolutely right. Well, thanks for having an amazing interview this morning, Chris. I got to come from the front porch. We have guests here. The parents are here this week. So I was trying not to be loud in my office.
I want you to know how much I enjoyed my time at the ranch.
We're so glad. It was so fun to have you here. This experience of moving here has been such an amazing, incredible experience, and to have people be able to come and visit and to be able to share that with everyone is really the ultimate goal, right? So that if you really wanted to have the ranch experience, you could come. And later in the year, in October, in the fall, we're going to have another opportunity for people to be able to to have a ranch experience. We're going to have a pretty amazing experience with my buddy Rob and my friends Diane and Larry. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm excited to be able to announce that that it's going to be a sparkly, it will look even more sparkly by then. And we're doing some more things here on the property to make it fixed up and getting things done. So pretty soon we went and looked at flooring. So as many of you know, we do, we're adding, right? It's not a totally finished, the ranch house isn't totally finished yet. So we think we figured out the tiling and the for the rest of the house, because some of it is tiled, but some of it's not yet finished. And so we think we figured that out. We're going to lay some of that out today and look. We're going to have a guy come measure. So we're moving along, right? We got gates built in and new animal pens, and we're working inside. So we got cameras that are sometimes operational, right? Still figuring out the camera project. The camera project was so much more involved than I thought, that I just, do a little bit, because there's so many technical aspects, and, I'm trying to run things like through multiple different deals. So I'm trying to teach myself a skill set that I probably should have outsourced, to be quite honest. However, I'm in, you know what I mean? I'm learning. So it's some fun stuff to learn, because over time, what I'm going to do is have like a farm project or a farm product for people, or for remote people that want to learn how to do this and how to set it up. And then that way they can have, multiple different resources, the easiest way to do this, because there's a lot of different technical components that are trying to talk to each other that I found that make it rather cumbersome. So yeah.
Let me say one more thing. I did whisper about the October event a little bit the other day. Some people said, "Oh, I'm in."
Well, this is the deal. The October event is actually is going to be part of something special. So we already have the dates on lockdown. But however, the opportunity to be able to come to that event, Chris had already locked that spot in based on some other items that we had done together in business. The reality is that that October event is going to be something that's absolutely amazing. We've never done anything like this before. The three of us combined have never done anything like this all together before, not like something like this. So we're really taking a live event retreat type of experience to another level. So we'll give you some more details as that comes out, but really this it's going to be pretty exciting, but it's going to be as a part of something for someone else, or it's going to be a part of a bundled up package. So I'm not releasing the dates, because it's not just going to be you're not just going to be able to buy a ticket, right? You can't this isn't just going to be able to be like one of those events, most likely where there most likely won't be individual tickets for sale. It will be as part of a bundle. So that's why we're not releasing dates, and we're keeping it, we're not giving you all the info, but we are doing something. We're all putting it together right now. And we've been working on it over the last couple of days. As many of you guys know, we had a bunch of recorded free daily coaching sessions this week. The reason for that is on those mornings, myself and Rob Four have been working here at the office. And so because of that, we just put up some recordings, because we're working on a big project. We've been putting some absolutely amazing funnels together, some ideas, some sites that you guys are going to absolutely love. We've got some great webinars coming up, some co-webinars for you. So you guys are going to absolutely love it. So don't worry about the dates. Just know that it's coming up in the fall. It's going to be in October. Keep October open. Don't worry, it's not on any holidays or anything like that, as far as like missing out with the kiddos. So we got you covered there. Thanks for joining us again here at Free Daily Coaching. Thanks to Chris Schaus for joining us again here at Free Daily Coaching, a featured friend of Friday. This Friday, we featured our good friend, Chris Schaus. Again, thanks, Chris, for doing each and every Friday. Thanks for having such a fun time here up at the ranch, and we'll see you all the next time.
Bye.